So the other day I got this question. Hey, Jesse, I'm in my 40s, although people tell me that I look younger. And I meet a lot of younger women through my work. The problem is when they find out how old I really am. Sometimes they'll lose interest or they'll tell me that I'm too old, and I don't know what to say in response. So do you have any tips for me? Well, yes, I do. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what to say to turn things around with a younger woman who says that you are too old for her, but to do it in a way that spikes her attraction up through the roof and so that she completely forgets about your older age. But before we get into what to say to that objection, first I'm going to show you what not to say to that objection. What fatal mistakes you want to avoid when a girl brings up you're too old for her. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a special ninja mind trick I like to use to prevent that girl from even bringing it up at all in the first place. And look, I can pretty much guarantee you that if you're out there talking to a lot of women, whether you're going out to bars or meeting women through your work or just in your day-to-day life, this objection is going to come up at some point. I can pretty much guarantee it's going to come up. So you might as well have a simple answer right there at your fingertips, ready to go, ready to use in any situation. An answer that you can simply tell the girl to turn things around with her. So anytime this obnoxious objection comes up, you can actually use it to create even more attraction with that girl. In fact, you want to have an answer that's so damn good that you want the girl to bring up this objection with you. Because you know that as soon as she tells you, well, I'm just kind of sorry because you're too old for me, now that's your opportunity to make her even more attracted to you and do it reliably every single time. So let's first cover what not to say, okay? These are like those 3 big fatal mistakes so many guys make. You don't want to be making them because I'm telling you, if you make even one of these 3 mistakes, you're likely to lose the girl. It's already going to be over for you. And that's why I call these fatal mistakes, because they are huge blunders. You're going to be toast. And that first fatal mistake you don't want to make, emotionally reactive, right? So the first fatal mistake you don't want to make is to get emotionally reactive with the girl. Like, you can't show the girl that her telling you that you're too old for her affects you in any way negatively, because that's just going to look low value. Like, if you were to get butthurt about it or get defensive about it, no, what are you talking about? I'm not too old for you. What are you talking about, girl? Or you start scolding her. Hey, that's not a very nice thing to say. That was pretty rude. Getting emotionally reactive in any way, anything like that, shows to her that she can control you, shows to her that she can affect you, right? Getting emotionally reactive, crying, getting butthurt, getting defensive, guys, that's something that women do. That's a very feminine trait. That is not masculine. It's not going to turn her on. And even if you are in the right, it will do absolutely nothing to help you out. So you need to avoid getting negative, getting reactive responses at all costs. Unless you just want to tell her off for whatever reason, it might make you feel better, but that's not going to help get you into her pants. All right, gentlemen, so the second fatal mistake you can make when she says you're too old for me is you start getting logical. You get logical with the girl and you start logically arguing with the girl. Like, maybe you don't get emotionally reactive with the girl, but you start getting logical with the girl, listing out reasons why she'd be better off with an older guy like yourself. Like, she tells you, well, you're kind of too old for me. And you tell her, well, you know, the thing about older guys is we're more mature. We're better in bed. I might be older, but I still feel young inside, or I'm in great shape. I can teach you a thing or two about life. Now, getting logical with the girl is a little bit better than getting defensive or butthurt or mad or getting emotionally reactive with the girl. But the reason that this doesn't work either is because now you're trying to qualify yourself to the girl. You're essentially listing out reasons to her as to why she should pick you. And this simply sucks because the frame you're setting is that she's up here and you're down here, and now you have to logically convince her to pick you. It's a little bit like she's the boss of a company and you're this unemployed brokey looking for work, begging the boss to hire you. It's simply a bad frame to set because you're handing the woman all the power and it's not attractive. Now, the other reason that getting logical simply sucks is because you can't argue a woman into being attracted to you. Logical reasoning is simply not the love language of women, right? There's an old saying, change her mood, not her mind. Change her mood, not her mind. So if you want to create attraction here, that's not going to be through logical reasoning. It's not going to be through changing her mind. You create attraction by changing the girl's mood. You create attraction by changing how she feels. The third big fatal mistake you can make is get thrown off. Third big fatal mistake is getting thrown off, being put inside your head. Like she says to you, you're too old for me. And you're just like, where you're thrown off your game, you feel unsteady, you don't know what to say back to her. And then she sees you going inside your head, trying to think of what to say next. Or she feels this terribly awkward energy coming off of you. And that happens because when you don't have an answer ready for her, then you're caught off guard. But listen, guys, this is something that we can fix because coming up, I'm going to show you exactly what to say back to the girl so you're not caught with your pants down. By the way, if you are an older guy and you have trouble talking to beautiful women, or your conversations go nowhere, or if women look right past you or treat you like you're invisible, go right here to youngerpartner.com and we can change all that in just a couple of weeks. I got a coaching program where we use visual neural programming to literally go inside your head, take out all the garbage swirling around in there, take out all the limiting beliefs holding you back, and turn you into a super confident guy. Because that's ultimately what these younger women really want, a confident older man. Do you think that these girls in their 20s really want to get stuck with some lame dude her own age? Absolutely not. Most of them don't. Most of them secretly crush on older men, but you have to be the right older guy. And that comes down to your beliefs inside your head. So we go in there with the visual neural programming and fix what's holding you back and give you exactly what to say when you see that pretty girl so that you can get her phone number and go on a fun date with her. Because once you get that younger, beautiful, loyal, feminine, sweet girlfriend, man, it's like your whole life completely changes. Then it's like you're walking on sunshine. You're walking on rainbows and flowers when you're in that kind of relationship. So just go here to youngerpartner.com, guys. Let's kick out the loneliness, kick out all the websites, kick out that hand cream. Let's kick it all to the curb and get you that relationship you really deserve. All right, so what now do you actually say to the girl when she says, you are too old for me? But do it in a way to flip things around on her and create even more attraction than before. Well, step number one is to simply agree with the girl. That's right. You're going to agree with her. You're going to tell her, yeah, I'm old. I'm old as fuck, right? Like in martial arts, like in judo. What you're doing is instead of resisting your opponent, you're using your opponent's weight and their momentum against them. So when your opponent comes at you with an attack, you're using their own momentum to throw them down on the ground rather than directly opposing, rather than directly attacking them. And that's essentially what you're doing with the girl when you simply agree with her. Yeah, I'm too old. I'm too old. Yeah. And that's essentially what you're doing with the girl when you simply agree with her. Yeah, I'm old. I'm old, girl, right? When you agree, look, you're not reacting. You're not getting emotional. You're not trying to logically argue it out with her. You're not being thrown off balance and being put inside your head. So you're avoiding all those traps that we talked about earlier. Now, once you agree with her, step number 2 is to exaggerate your older age. So you tell her, yeah, I'm old. That's agreeing with her. I'm actually way older than you think, girl. Yeah, I got a good plastic surgeon down in Miami, and I'm kind of thinking about getting a boob job next. Then she'll laugh. Her attraction for you will go up because you just passed her test. Or here's another example. You might say to exaggerate, yeah, I'm old, girl. That's agreeing with her. I'm so old that I eat dust for breakfast. Yeah, you're going to have to change my diaper at least a couple times a day, girl. I'm so old that I walk around with a cane normally. I just happen to be having a good day. That's why I'm walking on my own right now. And she's going to laugh because she knows you're obviously kidding with her and her attraction for you will go up. Why? Because you didn't get reactive. You didn't get emotional. You didn't get butthurt. You didn't get logical and start qualifying yourself to her. Instead, you used her own weight and her own momentum to throw her down to the ground, rather than trying to resist her attack directly. Now, if you go to youngerpartner.com and you qualify to work with me, I can give you even more responses just like these. I got a whole library of them, so we can fine tune it for what works best for you. And then you can pretty much use that same response for every beautiful woman you meet that brings up this objection. All right, moving on to step number 3. Look, you've already passed her test at this point. You've already spiked up attraction by agreeing with the girl and then exaggerating. So what comes next? Well, in the simplest of terms, you can simply change the topic at this point. Now that her attraction has been spiked up, you can start talking about something else entirely. But what I like to do instead is begin to evaluate her by asking her evaluating questions, to flip the script on that girl, to now put her in the position of qualifying herself to me. So you might say to her, so what about you? I don't know, you might be a little bit too young for me. Can you cook? Listen, what would you cook for me if you wanted to impress me? So all we're doing right here is turning the tables back on the girl, where we're now positioning ourselves as the selector of her, right? The original frame was that she was the selector. You're just too old for me. She's the chooser there. So we essentially agree with the frame. We exaggerate her frame to the point of it being ridiculous to make her laugh. And now we're flipping the frame back on her. We're taking it over. We're stepping into the position ourselves as being the selector of the girl. You know, I usually date fun, open-minded girls. So what about you? Are you fun? Are you adventurous? Where's the coolest place you've ever traveled to, right? You start hitting her with these evaluating questions of her own and get her to start chasing after your approval. Get her to start looking for your validation, because this is the honest truth of it, guys. The girl doesn't really care about your older age in most cases. She just wants to see how you react to her bringing it up. She wants to see how you'll react to that objection. So when you can flip it back on the girl by asking her evaluating questions, now she'll start qualifying herself to you. And she's gonna completely forget about your older age, at least for the time being. And guys, that's really all you have to do. Step number 1, agree. Step number 2, exaggerate. Step number 3, evaluate her. Agree, exaggerate, evaluate. Just do those 3 steps in that particular order and you'll be golden. All right, so now I'm gonna give you a bonus tip to prevent a girl from even bringing this objection up in the first place. And the way you do that is using a pre-selection DHV. So for example, when you're talking to a girl, you might tell her, you know, you seem kind of exotic, like you're not from around here. Where are you from? And then she tells you that she's from Brazil. So you tell her, okay, yeah, my ex was from Brazil. Great girl, fantastic girl, beautiful, loved her to death. She was about your age too, just maybe a year or 2 younger. So you're basically telling the woman a story here, a story that you've dated other women just like her before, that you've dated other women as young as her before, and that dating young women to you is simply no big deal. It's completely normal for you. And throwing in that pre-selection DHV that you've dated other women like her before, that's often going to prevent that age objection from even coming up in the first place. Now, what you gotta do is watch this video next. This is what you say when a younger woman asks you, how old are you? This is the ultimate answer for you older guys, because many times the girl might not object, but she'll simply ask about your age. And if there's this big age gap, you don't want to fumble it. You want to give her an answer that she will absolutely love. You want to give her an answer that increases her attraction for you. And if you're 30 years older than her, this still works every single time.